I'm here with Reaction Now as our panel today. We're very happy to have Scott Walker. He's a former Republican governor of Wisconsin, and Jennifer Nassour, Republican strategist and former chairwoman of the Massachusetts Republican Party and founder of Pocketbook Project. Governor Walker, start with you on this one. Overall thoughts on the DNC last night, where they're going, the messaging of it. Again, you've heard President Trump mentioned more times than Joe Biden.
Well, and you're going to continue to hear that because Joe Biden, who was supposed to be right here in Wisconsin, is nowhere to be found. He's hanging out in his basement. In fact, we may see a glimpse of him somewhere in Delaware on Thursday night, but they're doing their best to keep him away from the voters and keep him away from the media because they know if questioned, the reality is that Joe Biden ran to the middle in the primaries, and ever since then, he's been outsourcing his campaign, his agenda, to the radical left, whether it was Bernie Sanders, who we heard from last night, AOC that we'll hear from tonight, even Kamala Harris. People don't recognize this, but Newsweek said her voting record is actually to the left, further to the left, more liberal than Bernie Sanders. That's the first time ever we've had a running mate who's more liberal than a self-identified socialist. That's what's at stake in this election, and that's why they don't want to talk about Joe Biden. Only they want to unfairly attack the president. And
that busts up the whole she's a moderate thing by the new. I know exactly what you're talking about there, the thing on Newsweek. Jennifer Nassour, your thoughts on this? And one of the things that Michelle Obama, former First Lady, said was that you don't get empathy from the president, referring to President Trump, which I find interesting covering this because they're not pointing out policies. They're just talking about his character. Do voters vote Trump in because he feels good and it's nice and lovely and all that, or are they voting him in because he's getting the job done?
I think this is a typical Democrat maneuver, which is treat voters like they're idiots. So if we treat voters like they only are voting based on character and they actually don't care about policies, they don't care about their wallets, they don't care about their families, they don't care about their lives, they don't care about their community, then if we take that away and we just focus on that we don't like the way that the president says things, then people won't vote for him. And I think that this is just a typical maneuver. They do this when it comes to abortion rights. They do this when it comes to gay rights. They do this when it comes to racial inequities. They do this all the time. It's just beating on emotions instead of actually getting down into the nitty gritty and talking about policy.
Scott Walker, Jennifer Nassour, if you guys don't mind, stick around. A lot to cover after the break.
Here's an update on some other stories making news right now. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says the Postal Service will be just fine. McConnell said he's going to make sure it can function going into the election and that it won't be adversely affected. He also said he doesn't share President Trump's concerns about mail-in voting. Meantime, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi called the House back to Washington this week to address issues with the Postal Service, and GOP lawmakers have called the issue a manufactured crisis. Meanwhile, new reports find Air Force One was nearly hit by a small drone over the weekend. Witnesses said the drone got very close to the jet, which landed safely at Joint Base Andrews near Washington, D.C. on Sunday. The Pentagon is investigating the incident. And TikTok employees are getting ready to fight against President Trump's order banning transactions with parent company ByteDance. A technical manager with the company, Patrick Ryan, told The Hill that Trump can't make these types of decisions on a whim. He said about 1,500 TikTok employees might not get paid when the order takes effect next month. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo has repeatedly warned that the Chinese app is attempting to steal American intellectual property and private data.
Coming up tonight is round 2 of the virtual Democratic National Convention and a new set of speakers. Who's next? We'll discuss ahead.
And former Ohio Governor John Kasich had plenty to say about President Trump last night. We'll dive deeper into his comments. That and more when National Report returns.